Welcome to the Creatives Table, where purpose-driven creatives, visionaries, and builders come to grow, heal, and get clear, even if they haven't checked their email in a couple days, slept the full 8 hours since 2022, or still have a Photoshop file named Final, this one for real, Final. This space is for the multi-passionate, the overthinkers, the ones with 14 tabs open mentally and on their laptop. Here, we keep it real. We talk strategy, process, faith, burnout, bounce backs, and how to keep showing up when life gets lifey. If you're ready for community, clarity, and a creative kick in the pants, with love, of course, you're in the right place. So go ahead, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this live and tag your creative crew who swore they were going to bed early tonight. You know they up. Pull up a chair because the conversation's about to begin. Hello, good people. Hello. I am super excited for tonight. Y'all, it's been a long day, but Alterations is here. It's been a long time coming. We announced this a month ago, and that month flew by, y'all. It flew by so quickly. And y'all, I have some amazing guests tonight. I'm super excited about it. Some people that I admire and I think will add some great insight to this conversation. And so I am your host, Jerica Marie. I have been a graphic designer specifically in the church community for nearly a decade, y'all. I know I look 12. I know, but nearly a decade. And I'm really excited because some of these people have had the privilege of attending their ministries, seeing what they do. Some of the graphic designers I have close relationship with. And so I think that tonight's conversation is going to be great. So listen, a couple rules. I got a couple rules. If you were here last time, you know my rules are very simple, but it's going to keep the conversation moving. Rule number one, we're going to be respectful. Tonight, you may hear some opinions that you may not like. You may hear some opinions that you do like. Either way, we're going to keep it respectful. So let's keep it respectful. Let's make sure that in the comments, we are engaging. Y'all join in on the conversation. We don't want to just be talking to a screen. We want to talk to y'all. And so we want y'all to be our guest hosts. So join in on the conversation in the comments. Even right now, I want y'all to comment and tell me where you're watching from. I'm going to shout you out. You're going to be in the conversation with us. So that's rule number one and number two. And then rule number three is let's have a good time. Let's have a good time. Y'all, life is already hard enough. It's so much going on in the world. Y'all, we don't need that. We want good vibes only. So tonight, I am super excited because I have some good people joining me. First and foremost, I want to introduce my brother, none other than Mr. Jared Michael himself. Jared Michael, y'all, he's designed for everybody. When I say some of everybody, I believe he designed for Martin Luther King. I believe he designed for Aretha and them. Jared been around a long time. He done been designing for everybody. The Clark sisters, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, Pastor Tyrone Carter, Apostle Sam Franklin.
Everybody.
We got all these clients on the live. Jared been around the world. Welcome, Jared. Welcome.
Listen, I'm over here trying to get my in because, I was having a time trying to get in here. So I think we got it straight.
We appreciate you and your high top for joining us tonight.
Listen, it ain't as curly as it need to be today, but we gonna work with what we got.
Thank you for joining the conversation. Next, we have the overseer himself. Y'all, we have Mr. J. Ray in the house. J. Ray is an amazing graphic designer as well as a pastor. So he's going to give us the double-sided conversation, the double-sided explanations tonight. So we're really excited about that. And you guys, come on, confetti. Wow, Jay, wow. He said, honor me.
That's glory. Come on, somebody.
Wow,
One more time. Double the glory. Oh, God. Let it right.
No power. No.
Oh, wait. We celebrating the king early. My God.
Jay, please. Y'all, next, we have none other than y'all. Pastor Adrian Davis is in the house. Pastor AD, how you doing tonight?
I'm great. Looking forward to it.
Pastor AD need to give us some tips on this setup because me and Jerry just is cloudy and he is brighter than a shiny day.
Listen,
Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
No problem.
Next
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next, we are going to Nashville, y'all. We got two people from Nashville. We have Pastor Tyron Carter in the house tonight. What's going
everybody?
on?
What's happening? What's happening? Glad to be here.
glad that you're here. And
Yeah.
last but not least, certainly not least, we have the heavy hitter herself, Dr. San Franklin is in the building. Can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Y'all, I just want to rub her throats here so I can get some of that glory down here so I can sing a little bit.
Not today.
No, that's not what I'm for.
This will be the day or the hour for that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I tell people my throat is sovereign. It does what it wants to do.
Wow.
When it wants to do. And how it wants to do.
There you go. There you go. Mine is completely disrespectful. It lets me down every time. But I'm gonna get a holler like y'all one of these days. I promise I am. Yes, I am. Y'all, I'm so excited, y'all. This is Alterations. Y'all, we finna have a time. It's going to be good. But before we get deep into the conversation, y'all know I like to play games, okay? I love to play a game. I feel like a good game is really good at breaking the ice, gets everybody comfortable. And so we're going to play a game today called Holy Acronym. Holy Acronym. I'm really excited. We're going to have our designers and our pastors fighting. Well, J. Ray, you just going to be a designer today, okay? We're just going to be a designer today. Thank you. We're going to have our designers and pastors fighting for the number 1 spot. Who y'all think going to win? Y'all think the pastors got it? I mean, the designers are outnumbered right now. But I feel like they might do. I got to be biased. I'm going with the designers, okay? Got to be biased. So I'm really excited. So if we can go ahead and go to slide 1. Pastors, what do y'all think this is? Y'all figure out the acronym. These, go ahead, Dr. Franklin.
First given out of the God who is the head of my life.
There you go. Apostle Franklin been holy for a long time. She knows.
The show was lost. I was lost.
Thank you. But now you're found. Come on.
Yeah, I was lost too. I came front. I said, wait a minute, what is this?
Yeah, I definitely went straight to cussing. I went straight to
yeah.
cussing.
Me too, Jay. I had to see because I came up Baptist, so I said,
I went straight low country.
I knew I liked you. It's the Baptist in us. We went to the same church.
Still working on me in some areas. I ain't gonna lie to people now.
Well, praise God. Okay, so we're gonna head over to slide 2. Let's see who's gonna get this one. Designers, come on, y'all. Jared. One of you. Wow.
I don't know that one.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a hint. This is a saying that we say if something bad happens.
The devil is a lie.
The devil is a lie. And a what? And a deceit. But
That was good. I never seen that one.
Yeah, that was good.
The devil is a liar. All right, we're gonna move on to our next one. All right, now, pastors. Now, if y'all don't get this, I'm gonna have to go and see who gave y'all.
I got it. Look at your neighbor and say neighbor.
All right, there you go. Now, pastors, if y'all didn't get that one, I'm gonna be like, all right, now.
I didn't want to give up on myself. Huh?
All right, let's see who's gonna get this one.
My Lord.
That's it.
That's it.
He won't put more on you than you can bear.
There you go. The scripture that we read is not in scripture.
That's not in scripture.
Amen. That's why I didn't know it because it wasn't in the scripture. I didn't know it because it wasn't in the Bible.
You know the saints love to say it's in there. I haven't come across it yet, but praise God.
Maybe it's in one of the lost books. I don't know.
Y'all need not to ask me these because I'm the most unchurchiest person.
He may not come when you want him, but but he's always on time. There we go.
That's right. Right.
Designers are
glad about it.
Honey,
all right, last one.
Speaking in tongues. I ain't buying it.
Last one. Oh, that was the
That's the
last
same
one?
one.
I'm about to say
Praise
that's the
God,
same one.
praise God, praise God. Okay, y'all. So it looks like our designers have taken the winning slot. Y'all, pastors.
Congratulations.
We
Congratulations.
haven't even got to the questions yet. The pastor's in trouble.
Congratulations.
Wow,
Oh, no,
wow, wow, wow.
You
So
guys get a
y'all, we are
2% discount on your next design. Yay.
And you got to use it by midnight.
Gotta use it by midnight. Central Standard Time.
oh man, I'm really excited. Y'all are some good sports pastors. We got to get y'all. I don't know. We got to take y'all to a Baptist church and get y'all up on the lingo. What's going on? What's going on?
I was raised missionary Baptist, but I'm still lost.
You know
Oh,
what?
Lord.
Because these new saints don't say that stuff no more.
That's true.
Very
That's true. They run around singing 6 p.m. stuff. I can't take that.
Come on, let them feel your heart. Come on.
You see, Lord, you're as wide as the ocean. You're as deep as the universe. It's like, okay, please. The Lord's probably like, stop all that whining. Please stop all that whining. Y'all, we have entered into the juicy part of the conversation. I am excited because, as many of you know, if you are a designer, which a lot of you are, our relationship with our pastors are filled with great joy. I know I love the pastors that I have the opportunity of serving. My business is nothing without them. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. A lot of us, a big chunk of our clientele are churches and pastors. And so I, for one, am a graphic designer that is thankful for my pastors. I'm thankful for the pastors that choose to work with my business. And so while that relationship is a great one, it's something I'm super grateful for. It does come with its challenges, as any other relationship does. Let's not act like it's different than a relationship with your boss, a relationship with a coworker. It's the same thing. And in my personal opinion, in my experience, a lot of it falls down to communication. I think there is a break in the communication between creatives and pastors and churches, and then vice versa. And so in this conversation, I will be asking some questions that I think are relevant to that relationship that will cause us to kind of look deeply within ourselves and see how we can better that. Because at the end of the day, churches need graphic designers need churches. That's just the end of it, right? And so we want to make sure that that relationship is a positive one. So I'm going to ask my first question to Pastor Ty. Pastor Ty, how can pastors and graphic designers work together to ensure that a church's visual identity aligns with its mission and message? How can they work more closely together?
Well, the pastor, first of all, has to make sure that he or she can communicate the vision very clearly. It's not up for anyone else to communicate that. And so it has to start with that first. And then from there, to ensure that the graphic designer actually listens to what the vision is and not try to make the vision what they think it is through their own lens. So I think both things has to be very, very clear. Hey, this is the vision. I need you to take it from here and just bring it to life. I don't need you to create your vision within the vision.
Right. One, I think that was very powerful. And without knowing it, I think you just struck a chord that I think a lot of us graphic designers have some challenges with, because sometimes we work with people, and not just pastors, business owners, it doesn't matter, with people who cannot communicate their vision. And as a graphic designer, while we are amazing at what we do, I can't read your mind. I can't see for you. And so sometimes it's a struggle for us to get the vision out of the people that we're trying to get it from. And so, Jay, I'm gonna throw this to you, because I remember in our last live, you talked a little bit about this. When it comes to vision, and you have the opportunity of being both pastor and graphic designer, so you see it from a different lens. Why do you think some pastors struggle with communicating the vision for their church?
A lot of times I think it's bandwidth. I think sometimes we just don't have it beyond that. There are lots of times where, as a pastor and as a designer, I just don't have it. And I have to outsource it to Jared, or I have to outsource it to Janelle and say, listen, your brother just ain't got it today. I've reached my wits end with all my other duties. I've reached all that I can. And so I just don't have it to create anything else. Now, on the flip side, from the seat of the designer, I'm the devil's advocate. Y'all, excuse me, my allergies are toe up. I mean, toe up.
I understand.
But in the seat of the designer, like I said on the last session, I'm a prophet, I'm a seer. I can see beyond what you give me. I can take the little bit that you give me and multiply it, bring it to life. But you've got to give me something to work with. As we stopped with on the last session, you've got to at least give me something to work with. Tell me what your idea is. Give me a color palette. What do you see? If that's all that you have, cool. I'm either your Aaron or I'm your runner. I can take the little bit that you give me and run with it and try to bring something out of it.
Right.
But I do like
Okay.
to know, like if I'm designing an album cover, I prefer to listen to the song to get a feel for it, to see, okay, this is what I feel would look good for this, and discuss that with the client.
So I think first of all, I think being a prophetic graphic designer, which I think is a title you gave in the last session. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I'm a prophetic graphic designer. I feel like I'm just a regular graphic designer. Now, I honor you for what the Lord has given you, but as for me in this house, you're gonna have to tell me because I cannot see, honey, for real. I can't see. You see these glasses? You see how big they are? You have to tell me something. I can't see. You got to tell me something. And so, Apostle Franklin, I'm gonna throw it to you. Same question, because I think he added some depth to that, but I think you can really add some more color to it. Why do you think pastors struggle with communicating the vision? Because I'll be honest, I have had clients in the past who will say, I don't know what I want. I'll know it when I see it." And it's like you can't. And now we're going back and forth, revision after revision after revision after revision.
Frustrating.
You're and now I'm frustrated, and I don't think people understand creativity is it's in my mind. And so if my mind is gone, I'm not going to be able to create my best, because now I'm frazzled and I'm all over the place trying to give you what you want. Why do pastors struggle with vision?
I think the Bible is clear when it says, without vision, the people perish, or in another translation, it says the people cast off restraint. So in other words, they have no direction, they have no instruction. And I think the reason that a lot of pastors struggle with communication is because I'm going to say us, because we're talking in general right now. A lot of preachers do not walk in they're not pastors, and so they really don't have a vision. So I can't communicate to you what I don't have. You have a lot of pastors that are huge pastors that are really administrators, so they're good at relaying vision because that's what they do. They administrate. But then you have a lot of preachers who are not pastors, but they're in the role of a pastor, and so because they don't have either one or two things, and my pastors can chime in. Either they're walking in the wrong office, or they are afraid to delegate what someone else can translate if they have given them vision. So a lot of us, because of brokenness, because of past relationships, because of distrust, we don't properly communicate the vision to someone else who can talk it for us. And so it's either one of those two things. I'm pastor. I know that's I walk in that, but I have administrative gifts. So Jared has worked with me. I come to him knowing what I want because, like J. Ray said, I've already seen it. Our last, to me, genius creation was we were doing a Love Alive 5, or a Love Alive concert, because I assumed Love Alive that with Bishop Hawkins. And one of the greatest album covers to me was the first Love Alive. And it was just his face in this like muted black and white kind of thing. Jared recreated him and I in that. But I saw that. I sent him that cover. And when I saw it, we did what? One revision, and that was it. And that's how I am with whomever I use. I have 3 people that I stick to. And this is what I see because God has already shown it to me. So I think it's only fair that we give you all something to work with. Something.
I agree. I think that's very insightful. So Pastor Davis, because you are both also a graphic designer and a pastor, what advice would you give to a graphic designer on how they can steward? Because I'll be honest, and pastors, I love y'all so much. Let me say that to go ahead of time. I really do love y'all in real life, for real. No, it's not a. Sometimes I will be honest, in the graphic designer relationship, it's hard to challenge that. So when a pastor comes to you and says, I know it when I see it, it's hard sometimes to challenge them and say, well, I need you to figure that out and then come back to me. Because if we are honest, not a lot, because I can't speak for all, because I don't know every pastor in the world, but there are some pastors who will take that as you challenging them. And it's like, but I'm pastor such and such. And it's like, I get that, but right now you're a client of this business. And I'm telling you, in order for me to complete my service in an effective way, I have to get more information. So, Pastor Davis, back to you. How do you, how would you encourage a designer to navigate that type of relationship to pulling that out from their clients?
Well, for one, I think I agree with what everyone has said. I think on the other side, for a pastor, I think a pastor needs to also know, for this particular graphic, who is our target audience.
Yes.
That's big, man.
Because
That's big.
because a lot of times we're casting a net and we don't know what we're fishing for.
Ooh,
So I think a question that a graphic designer could possibly ask a senior pastor is, what's your target with this? Is this for the unchurched or is it for the churched?
yeah.
Because there's a different language and lingo, and there's also a different level of presentation that we want front
Sure.
facing. Because if we are trying to reach the unchurched, but we're using all church colloquialisms and lingo on the graphic, it's not going to
Yes.
resonate. So I
Right.
think we have to ask those questions. And I think that for graphic designers, it's a way in which that we can approach because I do think it is very capable for us to question without being dishonorable. I do think it's a way that we can position ourselves to ask specific questions, to say, hey, you know, I just want to gain clarity with this, and approach it from the standpoint of, the more you tell me, the better it can be, because I understand the plight of the graphic designer. Because when they're saying, oh, I know it when I see it, that means I got to go through 6 revisions before you decide that, oh, you see it now, and I
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
barometer. I have no idea. I don't know, and the way that I view it is, if if I've only been fishing one time in my life,
Yeah.
but I do know, by talking to other people that fish in certain lakes, they use certain baits.
Right.
So every bait is not universal. There are certain fishes that are not going to just snap at a
Yeah.
small worm when they need something bigger. You see what I'm saying? So if we know which pond we're fishing in, and we know what we're trying to reach, then it enables us to know what we need to create. And I think that coming into it from Oprah says this in the book. She says, remain curious, right? So I think that if
Mhm.
we come into whatever dynamic we have by approaching things from a curiosity standpoint, so being
Mhm.
curious for the sake of clarity. So I'm going to ask you certain questions that maybe you don't know the answer, but these questions could prompt the right answer. So I can ask this, and then that will prompt the right answer that I need to better do my job. So I'm going to ask you these questions, and then try to have a session like Pastor Todd said. It has to come from the pastor. If they're going to be the all end all, unless the pastor just has somebody in a particular area that is saying, hey, I trust this person with
Right.
whatever
Right.
we disseminate to people, cool. But sitting and setting aside a time, hey, I would love to talk with you, to ask you a few
Mhm.
questions, and then as designers, coming in with questions already mapped out, like, these are the questions I need answered, so I can better gain clarity for my job. Because you can, like I said, I feel like you can't ask questions without being dishonorable or without being disrespectful.
Y'all, I think he said a mouthful there. As graphic designers, it is our job excuse me, to create workflows, to create other things that help our clients communicate, because we can't expect our clients to talk the graphic designer talk. A lot of them aren't graphic designers. They don't know what to say sometimes. And so, like he said, figuring out a way to pull that information from them, figuring out a way to leading them into the vision, leading them to find it, is, I think, extremely helpful. And honestly, it's going to help you as the designer in the long run, and the pastor, because it's going to strengthen your relationship, right? Because they're going to be able to trust you. Like, oh, I didn't realize that, but you kind of helped me figure that out. Over time, they're going to trust you. That's number one, which is going to help you. But number two, you're not going to be frustrated, because Jared, Jay, Pastor Davis, we've all sat down at our computer, sometimes looking at it like, oh my God, if I look at this flyer one more time, I don't know where else to go with this. I have reached my end. I've changed it 10 times and I'm out.
Yeah.
And so it'll help us to really navigate that a little bit better.
Jarek, I was going to also say, because I think we have to understand that majority of pastors don't have creative language. So you're kind of teaching them a language, like, so they could, if they're talking about, exegesis and things that may not be your language. You see what I'm saying? Right. They have a language, and then creative concepts and things of that nature, whether it's brand or marketing, whatever, that has a language. And I think that both have to come to a level of conversation and communication to say, hey, I want to, I'm going to ask you questions so that I can better know in my proper language. And then they may ask questions, vice versa. And I think it's coming into it, like, not us having a problem with each other, but us trying to rectify a problem that we are on the same team trying to rectify, because we can't fight against each other and then birth something that's super anointed when it was created in chaos.
Fusion. Yep. Right. And I think you just said something in therapy. I've learned that it's not me and you against each other. It's me and you against the issue. The problem is we have to figure out your vision. So how can we come together and figure it out together? Yeah. It's really that simple. So I think, y'all, we've got some good advice so far. So graphic designers, I hope you guys are taking note. All right, Jared. So how can a graphic designer, balance their creative expertise with a pastor's vision, especially when they differ? So when your vision, because the technical things and how things work, differs from what the pastor may see in their mind, how do you kind of remedy the two? How do you bring those together, bridge the gap?
When I first started, of course, you're hungry for, that next amazing graphic to go viral, and you're hungry for all that. Now I give them what they asked for. They the ones paying. So now I'm just like, hey, whatever you want so I can get this off my to-do list, I'm going to do. I think, so that's definitely a huge thing, and I got to shout them out. Like, I always laugh because Pastor Ty is one of the, I got to give a shout out to him. He's one of the, I can't say that I don't like using the word easiest when I talk about people. He's one of the easiest people to design for, because he's like, I trust you. Like, whatever you want to do, we're going to do. And I've maybe twice in 2 years, has there ever been something he was like, I don't know about that. But like, it's just that level of trust. And that comes through, like we were talking about earlier, learning what they like, learning their target audience, learning that. And even now with Pastor saying, like, I know she likes sparkle, she likes flashy, she likes all the extra, like she likes, like,
look how she looking.
She likes this look. It always works and it's beautiful. Pastor Ty is very clean, very laid back, very chill. And that's another thing. You can't design for everybody's thing the same.
Yes.
You gotta be able to switch up. Like, and that's the same thing with some other clients that I have. They always say, like, I don't want to look like so-and-so. You can't design for Shirley Caesar the same way you design for Nicki Minaj. You can't do it.
Exactly.
You can't do it. So, right. It really takes that level of understanding your client, understanding their vision, understanding their target audience, and all of those things to give a successful end. What's the word I'm looking for? End project or end goal for everybody. So I hope.
And I want to highlight what you just said. Jared basically said, take your opinions out of it. Your
Absolutely.
opinion does not matter when it comes to your client's work. And
Now,
I know oh, go ahead.
I'm about to say, I will say there have been moments where I've had to speak up on behalf of the integrity
Look at
of.
that.
And there's been moments where, you know, it's something big and I'm just like, hey, you know, because of my education, whatever, like I've got to speak. But at the end of the day, if they paying, we can do whatever they want to do. But I would be wrong for me to not to speak up and say, hey, like we might need to add this, or we might need to take this away. But yeah, it just, once again, it comes from that level of trust between, because they know I'm not challenging them as a person. I'm trying to get you the best result for this money you spending with me. So yeah,
I think that's important though. But as artists, we're sensitive about our work.
absolutely.
That's like pastors. That's like you writing a sermon, and then you get another pastor that comes behind you and is like, "No, I'm trying to just do this, do that," and you like, "Hold on now." You like, whoa. That's kind of the protective nature of us with our art, quote unquote. But like you said, Jared, I've been in this long enough. I've had to separate. This is not my art. This is a product that is for my client. And although I may insert my opinion, hey, I actually went to school for this, not in that way because it sounds a bit condescending, but y'all get where I'm trying to go. This may work a bit better. Let's try it and see. And then if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, we'll just go with what you want to what you want to go with. That's fine. But at the end of the day, they have the last say. It's not my thing. But Jay, I saw that you had some big mannerisms when it came to this. So what do you think about that, Jay?
Mr. Ray.
Jay, you had some big mannerisms when it came to this conversation, when it came to incorporating your opinion. What do you think about that?
Say it again. Ask me the question again.
I said you had some big, you weren't paying attention at all. He had some big,
what I got going on at the same time.
You had some big expressions as it pertained to inserting your opinion into a client's work. So what are your thoughts on that?
On inserting my opinion?
Right. So if a client says, I want a purple reindeer with an orange something, and you're like, I don't know if that's going to look right. Let's do something else. And that's what they want. What would you do as a graphic designer? Because we're sensitive, and that's a very wild example, but you get where I'm going with it.
Very sensitive. Honestly, transparently, it's a big struggle for me. And I hate to say it like this because I don't want to be that deep person. I am a communicator. If you give me nothing, I have to see something. If I see something and it doesn't make sense, I have to now figure out how to communicate to you. That doesn't make sense. I don't get the message. But then there's the professional part of me that says, just trust what they say. Talk me through it. There's the part of me that says, just trust what they say, make it happen. Cry about it in the car later on. Okay? I just cry about it in the car later on. I had a client just do that. I designed what I thought was a beautiful piece of artwork, and it was a very small, minute change in the font. One word, only one word changed to a completely different font that was never used on the design. And I was like, ooh, cuss word. That just ruined my work. Don't tag me in it. I don't even want anybody to know that I did it, because that one thing for other graphic designers, when they see it, it's going to be like, ew, why would he do that? So then now I have to communicate to the other graphic designers where it was the client's request. Clients don't often think about, and I think it makes a difference for us, Pastor AD, and those of us who are designers as well. It makes it different for us because we understand strategic placements. We understand strategic moments. We understand strategic elements. So it can be really hard. If I have a relationship with the client, like my retainer clients, I have a relationship with them. It's easy to tell them, hey, no. And that's just that. That be that. You pay me to trust my professional opinion. So it's a no. But with a la carte clients, it's kind of like, okay, well, when you get it, later on down the line, I'll tell you, hey, I absolutely hated that. In a nice chat GPT way, I'll nicely tell you, hey, I didn't like that element. Let's try not to do that this time. I try to give a why behind a lot of it.
Yeah. I've reached the point in my career where it's just not worth the headache.
Now, I will say,
cry in the car later.
But on the flip side to what Jay was just talking about, it's easier for me when it's something like a smaller thing. It's harder when it's a huge project that the world is seeing. I've had that too.
Been there.
Yeah, sure. And then I see in the comments somebody said, "Oh, they just be hiring anybody to do stuff like this," and I'm like, "Wow." And I knew in my heart, I was like, "This is not what I originally did," but that's what the client wanted, and I'm still a little hurt about it today. But you know, it is what it is. Life moves on.
I have a question though, Jared.
Yes.
You said sparkly.
Sparkly. It's funny.
She was holding on to that for a minute. It was bubbling up.
Like sparkly. What is sparkly? You know, but you know what? He gets me. He gets me. Sure. And I built a relationship with, you know, the people that I use. I built and to be honest, I hope this is not a negative comment. The three people I use, they all they get each other. Yeah. So I can go to one and go to and because most people think that all of my work is done by the same person.
That's important.
They think cohesiveness. They don't say, well, who did this graphic or who did this graphic? They say, who does your graphics? Yeah. And the other part of that is they all have a relationship with each other. So that is very, very important, you know, that they all know that I use the three of them. And sometimes I have seen, you know, hey, well, what, you know, I have asked about collaborating. If one can't do it, can you do it? I just had a situation where I needed a website. And I asked them, and only one of them did websites, right? But they all work together. I wasn't worried. I was like, I'm going to get the same quality because the one who's doing the website created our brand. So, you know, you have to have relationship so much to the point that if you and I'm just, this is loyalty 101. I can use who I want to use. Absolutely. But because I believe in relationship, if I have to go to someone else, they all know that I use the three of them. Right. They're all aware of that, so nobody can say, "Oh, why she didn't use me this time?" And most of the time, somebody said it, and I want to apologize on behalf of the pastors to you all. Somebody said it. Most of the time, we want a graphic on Sunday that we needed on Wednesday. So, you know, we're rushing because we have not prepared, and we want you all to do something. And so, let me go ahead and apologize for that because I am a crunch person, so crunch excites me. But we can't expect everybody to be crunch, and we can't give you deadlines that we should have gave you a month ago because we knew a month ago it was coming up, but we'll call you on Wednesday for something that we do on Sunday. So I thank God though, because pastors, you know, we can be inconsiderate. Listen, I'm a realist. My brothers know I'm gonna tell the truth. We can be inconsiderate because we got so much on our mind. We got so many other people's stuff on our mind. You know that a lot of times we fail to prepare because we know y'all gonna come through. So part of it is y'all fault too. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I agree. No, I 1000%. I agree.
So I just feel like it goes back to what Jay Ray said and AD said, building that relationship and trusting. Yeah. I know what I'm going to get. So I'm not up wondering, my team, y'all, God bless their hearts. They was like, Pastor, we got to get this website done. So we reached out to some site that the people on there do graphics. And this African male was like, I can do your website. I said, absolutely not. And he going to have all our credit card numbers. And we're going to be wondering where these charges came from. Absolutely not. Y'all should, you know, you come and ask me. I got people no, we're not using him. We can't even remember his name. You know, no tea, no shade, but there are scam artists out here, you know, and so, we have to trust and we have to know who we're selecting, who we're working with, so we can I told again, I'm shouting out Jared because he did the most amazing birthday graphic for me. But
He did.
Oh my God, that thing! I said,
God.
listen, there's
Good.
a still shot that I have of this, and then there's a video. I said, I want the video to turn into a still shot. There was no revision.
I think we did that in like 30 minutes, to be honest. I really did.
Out in 30 minutes.
Wow.
But I knew who to call.
Subtle flex.
I wanted.
Subtle flex.
Jay, I thought it. I'm not gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it, but I thought it.
But that happens when the person has a vision of what they want, and they have the good photos to match it, and then I know her to know what she likes. Like, it's teamwork. That can't happen if you have a seatbelt photo in the car with your head cut off, and you talking about you want to look like Oprah Winfrey.
Jared, let me just chime in right there, because I don't think people understand that your picture is probably 85 to 90% of the graphic. The quality of your picture, the quality, 25, 80? Like I'm telling you,
they don't.
The quality of, and people do not. When I say even as a designer, they will send you what they want and then send you the picture that they have, saying, "Hey, can you create something like this?" It's impossible for them to like graphic designers, and I'm saying this because I've sat in the seat of both aspects, and I'm saying graphic designers are amazing, but they are not God.
Right.
They cannot. Like you put extra work on them to work overtime to bring some level of clarity and resolution to your picture, because you have this low resolution picture that you took from your cell phone that you like, that's a selfie, and you want to turn that into a clean graphic. It just doesn't translate. And then you send in Potter's House graphics, and you send in, you know what I'm saying? Like I want it to look like this. No, well, first invest in the photo shoot. That's number one. Please. Because all of that matters. Your graphic designer could have amazing canvas and landscape that they create, and that picture is going to diminish the graphic immediately. So all of it needs to be top tier if you want a top tier ministry as far as your presentation goes.
That and I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know about everybody else, but like me, my creativity stops when I get a terrible photo.
Oh, for sure. Can't think immediately.
I was just about to say, I think mine starts with the picture. Absolutely. When I see the picture, I kind of know where I'm going with it.
Absolutely.
Yep, for sure. I think, first of all, both of you all said some amazing things, and I saw Pastor Ty nodding, so I'm gonna say he definitely agrees with you guys. But going back to Pastor Franklin, I'm gonna come back to you, Pastor AD. Pastor Franklin, you said something about relationship, and I want to make sure that we didn't skip over that too fast, because that is such a pivotal part of this experience, the relationship, right? Because I will be honest with you, if my relationship with a pastor is every single time you do anything with your church, it is last minute and thrown together. I am not, is immediately when I see your name pop up on my phone, I'm immediately anxious. I'm frustrated because I know that you just messaged me about something you knew 2 months ago that you need by the end of the night. Completely disregarding what I have going on, my other clients. I gotta eat. I'm tired. I'm trying to think. And I think that relationship piece, because if you, Lord, my God, to just keep on. If you just communicate, hey, there are some things that will happen last minute. We know that in church. Sometimes the Lord may speak to a pastor and say, I need you to have a service on Friday, a healing and whatever service on Friday. You need to do it. I get that, and I have no problem. But every Friday, every Sunday, you don't know church coming. You don't know what you're preaching about until 2 a.m. Sunday morning. You don't know, like it. And I think that relationship matters, because if you respect me, I'm going to respect you. There are some clients I will do anything for. And so, Jared, go back into that relationship piece. I know you talked about your relationship with Pastor Ty and Pastor Franklin, and y'all, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm not trying to hype him up just because y'all his clients and y'all are on here, but he talks about y'all all the time.
All the time.
And as he should. He really should.
Okay, pipe it down now. Settle down.
That's
So, Jared, so, Jared, what is a realistic timeline? And I know every graphic designer has different timelines for how they produce work. But when you're talking with the pastor, and if we gave them some advice on just how to properly communicate with their graphic designers, what would you say to them will be an appropriate timeline for submitting graphics and appropriate, turnaround times for them, and how they can really best steward that relationship between, them and their designer?
Like we said, it varies. I think going back to what Pastor Sam was saying is a lot of times we can work quicker when you have a vision in place. If you have the photos to match it. If you have, if it's the winter soiree at the church and you send us a picture of you in a tank top, like my mind is already shut off. Like, how am I supposed to do this? So, and already I'm like, I can't get this back today because now I got to figure out how to properly put you in a fur coat with a hat or something. I've got
right.
I got to figure it out. So, like for me, if we have a clear indication of photos, we have all these things. We're not having to wait for the photographer to edit photos fairly quick. But like you were saying, it all depends on our schedules. Like before I even turn my computer on in the morning, I have a dog. I got to make sure she's let out because she will let me know. I got people, calling, texting you, what you good, all of that. I got to eat breakfast, clean up, take a bath, all of that stuff before I even turn on my computer, just like everybody else has daily responsibilities. And so like that expectation of, and that too, we're going to do this one out the photo.
Hello.
And then supplies to the photo that changes everything. So it's just being responsible and respectful of us. Just like everybody else wants to be respected. Like we deserve respect as well. So yeah, I feel like I agree over the place with that answer, but
no, I agree. I think that was good. And Pastor Davis, I want to piggyback back to you when you were talking about photos. I think it's important everybody with a camera that has Jerica take pictures now is not a photographer that you need to use. The problem is you going to Deacon so-and-so that got a Sony last Christmas from his grandchild. And now you expecting us to work with that. It's not even in focus. And so I think it's important. Also, piggybacking off of Pastor Davis, I'm going to throw it to you in a minute because he is the photographer. I think, Jay, I don't know if you do photography or not. I know I don't, praise God. But what is some advice give to particular or to clients and pastors about how to select a proper photographer to help them bring their photos to life? Because like Jared said, it makes this relationship a lot easier when you have the proper assets to go with it.
Yeah, I think for one, I think gone are the days where for a while, I remember when I first started pastoring, it was all of this, everybody wants to be vain and, it's not about this and it's not about that, it's about the Lord. And I get it. I wholeheartedly get it. It is about God. But also too, we're just in a time and in a space where brand identity and what your church represents matters and how it comes across on social media. Social media is a driving force in so many aspects of church. And so when you're looking at a photographer or picking a photographer, I played around with photography for years, but here recently, I've just taken it more serious here recently. It's been a healing mechanism for me, honestly. And so being behind the camera, being able to still create, being able to still have fun with it, but then see something in my head that I want it to convey. But I think that we have to do research and check out photographers that we like their work. Hey, I like their work. And and a thing that has our culture, I just say our culture in general, and you can put whatever into that. I think a lot of times when we are inspired, we don't know what to do with those emotions and it turns into jealousy. And so instead of partnering with people that you need to partner with or sending a DM to say, hey, I would like to work with you. Can we work together? Or can I, how much do you charge, or whatever the case is? Because we look at who people are working with and who they're shooting or whatever, and we automatically disqualify ourselves to say, oh, well, I probably can't afford them. They're going to be too crazy. And it's going to be, I'm like, well, does your faith only work when you're talking about church stuff? Because the truth of the matter is, like, you want to invest in all things, and there's a level of excellence that I believe that the kingdom should, exemplify. Honestly, that's just my personal opinion of it. And people have different opinions, and I understand that and I respect that. But I do think that when you see something that you enjoy, you see something that you like, you see something that resonates with you, ask yourself, why does that resonate with me? Why do I really connect with this? Why do I really like this? And it could be the quality of something. So reach out to them, talk to them, and invest in that. Like, something about that triggered you, it would also trigger other people to pay attention to it. I was just doing a mentorship call yesterday, and I was telling them, like, I'm in the age where I grew up, we were throwing parties. We would pay PK Graphics to do 5,000 flyers. That was $175, and we would put those flyers on people's cars. And they would grab that flyer, look at that flyer, and put it on the ground. It was never in our mind for them to take that flyer and put it on their refrigerator, right? The concept with us when we post on social media, why are we getting discouraged because somebody didn't like it? Do it for the look, not the like. As long as people saw it, something resonated with them to pay attention to it. They may not give it a thumbs up. They may not give it a heart. They may not comment. They may not share it. Cool. But if they see it enough, it resonates with people. So do it for the look, not for the like. And then fall in love with the journey of creating. And if you fall in love with the journey of creating, then it's like, yo, like, I want the excellence factor to be there. I want to show people this journey. And then when people look at a graphic, I want it to tell a story. I want it to connect with people on some level of, resignation within them, I believe graphics speak. I believe photography speaks. I believe what we do creatively speaks, because we come from a creative being. You know what I'm saying? So that's in us. It's innately in us. And so because we come from a creative being and we exude creativity, that's going to resonate with somebody, and it's going to resonate with the right people. And I feel like the right graphic resonates with the right people, and then the right people connect, whether that be on live, whether that be actually coming to your church, whether that be they check out a Bible study, but some level they kind of connect to it.
Yeah, I think that's good. So ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, y'all. Yeah. People are not gonna bite you. Y'all, I do not have relationship. I met Pastor AD. I was around back at All Nations Christian Center.
Yeah.
That was it, All Nations Christian in Huntsville.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen him in forever. I was many, many pounds lighter. I hadn't seen him in a very long time. Praise God. And Pastor Ty and Apostle Franklin, I didn't know them at all. Reach out to people. Like, what the worst thing that somebody can say is no. And it's like, okay, love you anyway, and move on. It's okay to reach out, to ask questions. If you admire something or are inspired by it, just ask them. Hey, I love your work. Who does this for you?
And I'm sorry, Pastor Sam.
I was just saying that it's good. Go ahead.
I think we just have to get into, because we hear all these stories about people gatekeeping, and that is a real thing. I understand that. But there are some people that are not gatekeeping. And the only way we don't know if they're not gatekeeping is to start up and spark the conversation and to see. And I think we automatically default to people gatekeeping because we are afraid to operate in courage to open up conversation. So, and it gives us the excuse every time. Oh, well, that's what people do. They ain't finna help nobody. They ain't finna da. No, that's just your experience of what you have had. And you could be carrying a past trauma experience into a new space that really could help you. I can tell you when I started taking photography seriously, how many photographers I DM'd because I liked their work. And I asked them, could I shadow them? I asked them, could I, come to a session and be an AD, assistant director, or just to assist them at a shoot. And certain people, yes. Certain people didn't respond. Certain people told me, hey, no, not right now. And that was okay. You know what I'm saying? But I've been invited into more rooms because they see the hunger and they see the eagerness, then I've been shut down. So I think that, you know, it just takes a level of courage for us on all facets, whatever we choose to do, that it takes a level of courage to make a connection.
I agree.
Can I respond to that?
Absolutely.
AD is so important. It goes back to the relationship piece. I met Jared through my photographer.
Yeah.
So my photographer and my graphic artist already work together. So I think that's another thing that makes it easier. Is their relationship. He can say, use this picture. He can say, no, I don't want that picture. He can say, well, they already work together. So that was a win-win for me. You know what I'm saying? And it was important that I had a good relationship with my photographer, or if it had been Jared, that I had a good enough relationship that they can refer me to each other. So some clients, and you don't want to even refer them to nobody because they nasty and because they this. And so, you know, even with me and Pastor Ty, we that's my brother. We don't talk every day, but he knows he's my brother, you know, and he had an event that I was on. It was easy that Jared already had the picture.
Yep.
So, you know, and that thing was amazing. It was when we was doing prayer on the square. It was amazing. You know, it's like when you have a relationship with different people, I think that's the root of it. Having a relationship. And to Jay, he said something earlier, and I was convicted. It's not, I think we need pastors or whoever you delegate to, because I had a graphic designer. He was in my church, so he was a part of my church. So I had an in-house graphic designer at one time before he moved. But we are so afraid of putting ourselves on retainer. We know we got stuff coming up. Just say, hey, send a calendar. This is what I got coming up. You know, and they're very good. Hey, do you need anything? Do you need that? You know, hey, you know what you got, because they know me. You know, and I think we shouldn't be scared. Because you know, you say, oh, well, how much is retainer gonna cost? Because in the music industry, retainer, you know, I gotta eat when we're not on tour. And so we're scared to say, hey, you know, what does retainer look like? This is what I have. I know I got Bible study. I know, because people get tired of seeing the same old graphic for 2 years in a row about your service. So you gotta change up. You gotta switch up. And I think if more of us allowed ourselves to put our graphic artists on retainer, then everything wouldn't be rush everything. But it goes back to relationship.
It does. And I want to say something there and just add another element to that, because what I think that most people don't realize, as graphic designers, we're not as money hungry as some people would like to make us seem. And we will make concessions with you. Yeah. We will make something work for you. If you say, hey, I can't afford that, this is what I got, what can we do for this? A lot of times, if the relationship, back to what Apostle Franklin was saying, if the relationship is there, we'll make it work. Mm-hmm. But it's you can't be a client. This is what I say, right, wrong, or indifferent. This is my mentality. You can't be a difficult client and then you're asking me for a discount client. It don't make sense. It don't match. So either you want a discount, and I'm free and available to do that because we have a relationship, but you can't also on top of that be difficult and a tyrant. That's not gonna work. And so I think a lot of times it's like, if you steward that relationship well, you will understand that there was more fruit that you can get out of that than what you would get being anything else. And so I think it's something that I think is important. So as we're drawing near to the end, y'all, I hate that this is ending. Like, it's been such a good conversation. I feel like we were really getting into it. But I have one more question. I'm gonna shoot this to Pastor Ty, because he's been a little quiet. So we gotta get him in on it. So Pastor Ty, many churches operate on tight budgets. How can pastors and designers find a fair balance between affordability and quality?
I think you started it already saying they can't be difficult if they're asking for a discount. I think but then also too, pastors, we can't be afraid to invest, right? Like, we cannot We cannot. We want people to invest for our time, so we cannot then turn around every time want some type of discount because we're clergy or whatever that you want to say. So I think that's very important. I remember years ago, AD had I reached out to him from a brother's perspective, but also he had his own agency going. And it was to create, I wanted him to help me think through my brand, right? And so with that, it wasn't no, I need the brother discount. It was, I need you to help me. So I need to pay whatever that is. I need to pay it. And then we worked out, hey, this is going to be with over 6 months, 7 months, or whatever that is to pay that. But it went through the different steps of what this looks like. I think one of the main things that's wrong with pastors when it comes to this is that we think graphic designers are our brand ambassadors, like they are our brand strategists, when you have to understand the difference between someone who works on your brand, someone who's your media director, someone who's your graphic designer. Like those are all different areas. While somebody could do all of those, that you cannot make one person be there. I think that's very, very important. So you have to invest, you know, that there's no way around it. And so one of the things that me and Jared does is that, because sometimes, because I am, as Jay said, you know, and everybody on here that preaches on here, it's prophetic. And so sometimes I don't have I know, you know, 6 months in advance of whatever the, you know, the series is going to be. Sometimes I don't do series at all, just because the Lord might be speaking to me every day, something different. So we work with that. But with that, I have a standing graphic that we do a quarter. So there's a quarter graphic that is the same for Sundays, just in case that there's something that, so we paid for that already. So I think pastors, you can do that to where you don't have to have something to do every week. But as Apostle Sand said, you can't have the same thing for 2 years either. And so it's those different things. So so that's what I would say, you know, to that whole thing of the balance of the budget piece. Put it in your budget, like put it in there. There's so saying that it ain't gonna fit is because you didn't plan for it. You need to put it in there and say, at least if we paying whatever, because I don't know everybody's pricing, so I'm not gonna say that because I don't know if I got a discount, so I'm not gonna say nothing. But if we're paying if we're paying whatever we're paying, and you know there are 12 months, then you need to budget. Let's just say it is $100. That's $1,200 for the year. You know, you can pay $1,200 for the year to have that same graphic for the Sundays of that month. So it just really, it's on you. If we budget for everything else, we can budget for y'all.
Yeah, I agree. And Michelle said, as a designer and a Christian, it feels good when we get poured into as well. It means a lot to us when the pastor, prophet, intercessor actually shows care and concern and or just checks in. That goes back to Apostle Franklin's piece, and it goes back to Pastor Ty's piece, Pastor AD, Overseer J. Ray, and Jared, and myself about the relationship. Y'all, I think we got to the end, to the nitty gritty about how to improve this. Improve the relationship.
Absolutely.
It's important for us to really understand each other, like for us to really be able to communicate with each other. I think Pastor Ty said for pastors to think ahead. You know that if you know in the past 6 months the Lord has spoken to you prophetically 3 or 4 times, then you probably can guess that he probably gonna do the same in the future. So maybe you should think forward and plan for those things ahead, communicating that to your designer, stewarding that relationship, not just checking in to see if we good enough to do what you need us to do, but actually being okay with caring about us, because as designers, we really do care about our clients. Y'all are our bread and butter. We love y'all, for real. Thank you. Every time I eat this food, thank you, clients. I appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And sometimes we love them for real. Yeah. And sometimes we don't always feel that love back when we're saying, hey, we got to figure out a better timeline, because it's, you know, it doesn't always feel the love back. And I'm so grateful that I chose the pastors that we have on here, because they truly have a heart for not only their needs, but they have a heart for people, and you can feel that in how they communicated tonight. And the designers that I had on here, them too, they have a heart for their clients and for people. And I think that that's what we're missing in this relationship. For us to understand that people, like, we're still dealing with people. Designers are not robots. We're not AI that you can just spit us a prompt and we can just, magically put something together. We need that relationship, that conversation for us to figure things out. So y'all, I am so excited. Tonight was amazing. Thank you so much, Apostle Franklin, Pastor Ty, Pastor AD, Overseer J. Ray, Jared. Thank y'all so much. And actually, Pastor AD doesn't know this, but he tapped into our next session. So y'all mark your calendars. March 27th, we're getting ready for Jack City. Have y'all seen New Jack City? Anybody seen New Jack City? We're going over the epidemic of the unauthorized remix. Y'all, I tried to be very nice.
Jericho, this is rich.
An unauthorized remix. Okay, so I'm super excited. We're gonna have some new opinions. March 27th. Y'all, yeah, the secret is crazy. Y'all, I'm apostolic now, but I'm new to the apostolic. So y'all think they're gonna be mad? I don't know. I love God for real. I'm gonna get pulled into the office. I love God for real, y'all. I don't smoke. I got asthma.